Welcome in. Sony Open live chat, whatever you want. Questions, comments, concerns, ownership, DFS, bets, one and done. I don't care. Talk about Mito going to live? Sure. I don't care. Whatever. Drop it in the chat right now and we'll jump into as many of these questions as possible. Hank Hill out of the gate. Hank, did you change your avatar? Maybe. Are you comfortable living in the 6K range to fill out your lineup, or do you prefer the 7K range? Oof, definitely prefer the 7K range. Let's talk through it a little bit. This is my website, RickRunGood.com. Everything you see from my website. I have the 6K range loaded up. It's not particularly great. I'm a glutton for punishment. So when I see someone like Kazuki Higa, who's going to be 2% owned at $6,900, played in the Zozo, beat half the field, won an Asian Tour event before that, like, I'm almost willing to take that over some of these known entities that I don't think have much going for them. Ben Taylor is at least interesting right now. We have to kind of reset a lot of these guys. Not a single one of the 6K guys played in the Hero World Challenge. Not a single one of them played the Century Tournament of Champions. So if you want to go back to the RSM Classic, Ben Taylor cashed a T3 in Houston, a 21st place finish at the RSM Classic. That's kind of interesting. And if you are so sick in your head, you want to go for David Lingmerth. He's got 3 top 11 finishes in his last 4, missed like 3 or 4 cuts in a row before that. Then he won. Then he missed like 3 cuts before that. He's been all over the yard. There is, to me, at least a little bit of a sizable upgrade for like the bottom of the 7K range. I'm pretty much a Robbie Shelton believer. 10th place finish in his last start. He had a 23rd, a couple of starts before that. He's kind of interesting. Hubbard was really, really good. Then he had the toe injury, which I think he actually required surgery on. And he got it quick. He got it like whatever the last round he played was. Maybe it was the RSM Classic. He had it like the next morning, something like that. And then I'm just a big believer in Steven Yeager in general, kind of long-term. He's been playing well at the moment. So those are a couple guys. If you have an extra couple $100 to spend, have at it. Also, if you haven't noticed, I got a couple of requests for this. I added back, there's both views of this now, the global and the classic view of the cheat sheet. I know that's something everybody was excited about, and it took me a while to connect everything up, but I pushed that update just a couple of minutes ago. Dave says, smash the like button. That's right. Can you talk about game theory this week? Can't decide between 2 stars or a balanced since approach and putting will be critical, and there's lots of value in the 6 and 7K ranges. Okay, so if we look at this field as a whole, I think there's a pretty clear drop-off. Maybe, I don't know, 4 guys at the top. It's probably Tom Kim. It's probably Sungjae. It's probably Hideki. It's probably Spieth. I don't love that Brian Harman is also 18-1 in the betting markets for a guy who's won twice in his entire life and hasn't really played particularly well here. I'm not sure I'm buying that, which almost ensures his victory, but I think it's a pretty big clear 4. I'm happy to start with any of those guys at the top. So if you want to talk game theory, Hideki Matsuyama, 12% projected ownership to Tom Kim's 31%. Is Hideki going to win this event a third of the time that Tom Kim is? Or is Hideki going to outperform Tom Kim more than 33% of the time? The answer is almost certainly yes, especially if he gets off to a hot start, right? If you can get Hideki engaged, obviously, as your defending champion. Obviously, he's played well here before that with a 19th and a 12th place finish. So I wouldn't even mind starting lineups with either Spieth or Hideki. Hideki's kind of the standalone contrarian play or pivot play at the top of the board, and then get as much of that star power at the top that you can. Chris says, love the content. The weakest link in my single entry is Webb. Oof, yeah, that kind of feels right. Do you see a cheaper or a safer option? All right, well, let's find Webb at 7,400. That's kind of the range where you can get a lot of different guys, right? Think Ben Griffin, right? I'll show you him in a second. Brendan Steele, Grayson, I mean, all these guys I kind of like more. Steven Yeager, as mentioned. Let me show you something on Ben Griffin, and I put this in my Run Good Rundown. So if you go and read that or sign up for it, there's a link in the description. I email it out every single week. What was I looking for? Oh, go to the Holy Grail, go to the fantasy tab, go to everybody in this field since the start of the 2022 season. He doesn't have as many starts as everybody else, but you'll see the 3 guys at the top who have the highest fantasy percentile. That just means if you put everybody in the field, like if you finish 99th out of 100, or excuse me, second out of 100 in fantasy points, you finish in like the 99th percentile, right? So you want to be higher here. It evens out easy events, high scoring events. It evens out small fields, large fields, medium fields. And it just says, how many guys did you beat in fantasy points? So Taylor Montgomery, over his 9 starts, it's again, small sample, has beaten 84% of the field on average in fantasy points. Will Gordon, 77%. Ben Griffin's in here at 71%. Now, to put that into perspective, Scotty Scheffler's 2022, I think, was like an 80th percentile, 78th percentile performance. So it's obviously a small sample. He's not going to keep it up, but he's had a really good run. I would not mind going to Ben Griffin there. There was an immediate another question about Webb, so hopefully I answered that both. Okay, so who's the producer's pick? So that's my business partner / wife / producer, Mina. She says she's going with, she was very specific. She usually only gives initial so that she can claim multiple people. She usually only gives a first name so that she can claim multiple people. She went specific, Taylor Montgomery. Continuing to kill it, Rick. Congrats. Thank you. Since we are in the name that statistic era, that's right. What do you think about strokes gained floor finder and strokes gained ceiling finder? How often a player finds average? Any value you think? Yeah, I think that's kind of what we look at when we go to the power rankings and we go to the strokes gained distribution, right? And maybe we want to do this over 50 rounds to see really kind of floors and ceilings here, but that strokes gained ceiling finder you'd be talking about, that's like gaining 5 or more strokes in a single round. And Will Gordon does it 14% of the time over his last 50, more than anybody in this field. Mark Hubbard, there he is, has done it 12% of the time over his last 50 rounds. That's the second most. Then you get Adam Scott, Ben Griffin, Emiliano Grillo, Ryan Armour, Taylor Montgomery checking in at 10%. The other side of that would be the floor, because you can tell these guys don't have the same floor. Ryan Armour's ceiling, very high. Ryan Armour floor, very low. 52% of the time he even gains any strokes to the field. Taylor Montgomery is really the only guy who has both. Taylor Montgomery, Tom Kim, high ceiling, high floor. So if we flip this around and go, okay, who are the high floor guys and the guys that don't have necessarily the highest ceiling? Unfortunately for me, because I bet him this week, it's Cam Davis. Cam Davis gains strokes to the field 72% of the time, but falls off to the rest of the field when you get to 4+ and 5+ rounds. Those you might need en route to victory. But these are kind of your safer guys, right? And when you start looking through the names, doesn't this make sense? Brendan Todd, makes a lot of cuts, plays well, rarely wins. And that's exactly what the strokes gain distribution shows. Corey Connors plays well, bunch of top 20s, rarely wins. Isn't that what the strokes gain distribution shows? So this is a really cool little way to look at it and a reminder of how there's a bunch of different ways to get it done. And I really like it. So yeah, thanks for the note. Can we see a head-to-head matchup with Russell Henley and Seamus Power last 36? Yeah. All right. So go to the head-to-head betting tool. I just loaded it up here. Throw in 36 rounds for each. Who do we want? Russell Henley. Okay, we'll type his name in. You can put any 2 golfers against one another, not Charles Henley. You want Russell Henley, and we want Seamus Power. Seamus Power's not in this field, is he? Am I missing something? Seamus Power's not in this field, right? But I mean, I'll give this to you. But am I confused? I have Henley winning this 51% of the time, but I think he's certainly going to win it this week because Seamus isn't playing. That's confusing. Who are your top 2 players above 9K, then top 8K, then top 7, then top 6? No, that sounds like giving out a lineup. Hope you're having a good week after hoping for a good week after having an outright on Morikawa last week. Ugh. That's Scott's words, not mine. Anyway, what's your stance on guys in good form who have had not so great course history? Example, Spawn and Hoagie. I'm generally a recent form guy, right? I think, though, if you have enough of a really ugly sample like JJ Spawn, where is JJ? $8,400, who has missed 3 cuts in a row, finished 47th in 2018. Like, that's really, really bad. That might indicate that just something does not fit the eye. But if you are playing well now, or the other thing would be, like, if you've seen a significant improvement. So I would say this about like Matt McNeely's gotten better kind of month over month. We're seeing that. Matt Fitzpatrick is not in this field, but that's obviously also another really good example. I also think that Hoagie has taken leaps. And also, I wouldn't even say Hoagie has bad course history, right? It's just volatile course history. He's missed the cut in 3 of 5, but his other 2 are 3rd and 12th. So it's not like he's been completely horrible, kind of like a JJ Spawn has. So still very much a recent form guy. Enough nuggets in the course history for Hoagie. The Spawn stuff is a little bit worrisome. Oh, here we go. So Fantasy Life's head says Henley, heart says Seabez, money says Hoagie. Yeah. So for me, my money would probably be like Cam Davis. My head says honestly like Sung Jae. I think could win this. And then my heart would be like let's just like I'm in on the Tom Kim mania. Let's do that. Or Taylor Montgomery for any one of those three would be just fine. Excited for the Netflix doc. Super stoked. February 15th. It's called Full Swing. It's coming out and it's going to be splendid. Hey, Rick, I know the first playoff event is now 70 instead of 25. Do you know what the second playoff field is? Yeah, that's a great question. I was talking about this the other day and I was like, wait. Well, I think it's 70, 50, 30. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure Memphis is 70. Cut it down to 50 for the BMW championship and still 30 at Eastlake. I cannot imagine they're going to go 70, 30. Although I'd kind of like that more because then you almost get 2 weeks to play yourself into the Tour Championship. So I don't know, Alex. I'll have to look it up, but I would kind of low-key like to see 70, 30. I think it's 70, 50, 30 though. What do you think of using a Hideki in a one and done? Spoiler alert. Yeah. I mean, like I've used them in some one and dones. Like I'm in a lot of one and dones. Okay. So like I have a lot of different situations. I've got ones that started in the fall and we're continuing to roll on. I've got ones that's just are starting this week. No problem with this, right? You're going to have a guy who's in the top 4 of the betting odds, who obviously has good course history. He's our defending champion. He is struggling right now, but he's not struggling across the board. And are you going to want to play him later? Where else would you play Hideki? Phoenix would be a logical explanation because he's been good in Phoenix, but now that's an elevated event. Everybody's going to be there. He's going to be like 30 to 1 or something. I don't know what he's going to be. So I'm willing to do it right now. He is probably in the midst of the best putting stretch of his career. He's gained strokes putting in 6 straight. The short game has been phenomenal. Yes, it is very worrisome that his approach play has not been sharp, that he has driven it like a madman. Over his last 10 or 12 starts, he's been chasing distance. I don't think it has particularly worked. So yes, I worry about that. I worry that if he gets off to a slow start, he's going to WD. But in this situation, this early in the season, plenty of time to make up money, plenty of time to be a little bit different. I'm going to go with Hideki. The other thing is, and I mentioned this on Tuesday, the projected one and done ownership for both Hideki and Jordan Spieth is like 6%. So if you just zoom out without knowing anything about any golfer's name, without knowing anything about their stats or their course history or anything, if I told you there are 2 guys in this field who are in the top 4 of the betting odds, who are 6% owned or less in one and dones, would you take one of them? The answer would almost always be yes. So I went with Hideki. Speaking of which, the very next question. On yesterday's podcast with Andy, you showed some projected ownership for the one and done. That is correct. Where are you able to see that? All right. So this is a website that we've hosted one and dones on in the past. It's called officefootballpool.com. And if you have I guess you have to be in a pool, but what they let you do is they let you look at site-wide picks. This is not for people who are in my pool. I am not privy to any additional information. This is for the entire site. I assume it's thousands and thousands of people. It will show you the percentage picked for each golfer. So Tom Kim right now, 17% owned in one and dones, 15% for Corey Connors, 12 for Henley, 9 for Brian Harmon, 8 for Hoagie, 7.9 for Sung Jae, and then Jordan Spieth and Hideki Matsuyama, as mentioned, 5 and 3%. So that's where I find it. I don't know if you need to be in a pool to see that, but it is available to everyone who is on Office Football Pool, and it basically checks out as being pretty close. Thanks for all you do, Rick. Checked out the prop show earlier. Thank you. Yeah. So listen, I started a second YouTube channel. It's called RunGoodProps.com. If you guys know, I own RunGoodProps.com, or excuse me, the YouTube is called RunGood Props. I own RunGoodProps.com. It's a dashboard, a data-driven dashboard to beat the prop sites. That's all it is. It's very simple. It's very powerful. It's a lot of fun. I dedicated 10 minutes to it this morning on a live show. I'll dedicate 10 minutes to it on Saturday. So we'll do kind of a Wednesday, Saturday cadence for a while. If you want to go check that out, much appreciated. I'm looking at Putnam, English, and Poston. How would you rank them based off of history, fit, and form? Yeah, I'm not as excited about Andrew Putnam as as probably most people are. So let's just do this. Let's just do the strokes gained last 50 rounds. Putnam's been pretty good. The only concern, I suppose, is a lot of it is in the short game categories, right? So he has actually gained 1.18 in the short game and 1.16 overall. Now, this doesn't always match up because we've got events that are not completely measured, but you get strokes gain total for everything. So that's a little bit worrisome. I understand it, but I don't love it. JT Poston is a microwave. Like, he can heat up in a big way. And then Harris English, I think if you just go like 200 rounds for everybody, Harris English is way better than these other two guys are. And he is just trying to get healthy, trying to get right. He's been laying these little breadcrumbs around for a while. I would not be surprised to see Harris English win this thing. So I think it's pretty close. I'm not sprinting to the window to get access to any of these guys, but I think the rank is English, Poston, Putnam, all things considered. Good luck. Have you finalized your betting card for this week? I have. Caveat, if it's a new year, like, I don't know how I even started doing this. I don't love doing this, but since this is my card, you should not bet what I'm betting. Let's just throw that out there, right? Like, I don't know what your risk tolerance is. I don't know what your goals are. You should not care who I'm betting, but here's who I've bet. They're all 5 golfers, 36-1 or longer. 36-1 Cam Davis, 40-1 Taylor Montgomery. Then I went deeper and got Adam Svensson at 80, Hayden Buckley at 95, and Will Gordon at 130, all at circa. Those are my guys. I've said it all week. Like, I'm just going to bet my guys this week, right? I don't really care about much. These are guys I've been excited to bet for 6 weeks. I think they all have a legit chance. I'm going to bet my guys. David says, hey, Rick, unlike your typical weather post, ! Unlike your typical weather posts. Just wanted to ask how you're finding Windy and reading the weather charts now. Okay, yeah, I actually have Windy up. Let me pull it up. So Windy's way over my head in general, right? Like, I'm not, and let me get out of the way. This is probably too advanced for me. So this is the golf course here. This is Waialae. It's obviously right on the water. This is that little hotel that you're going to see, that they're going to run commercials for this hotel and show you that like dolphins swim in this pool or whatever, like 400 times this week. So you'll get used to seeing that. So let's look at this. Thursday morning, you're getting basically 9 to 12 mile an hour winds with gusts to 22. And you're getting the same thing Thursday afternoon. It will chill out a little bit Thursday night and into Friday. Friday morning looks very, very benign. And in fact, Friday altogether looks pretty benign. 4 to 5 mile an hour winds, gusts from 7 to 14. You could argue that at 2 o'clock, if you believe this to be true, things will get a little more difficult. You could get gusts up to 14 instead of 7. You're also going to get a change in the wind direction, which I think is, guys are going to have to kind of play it in 2 different ways. I don't think there's going to be a huge weather edge based on what we just showed here for the waves, but I think you could make an argument that Thursday afternoon, Friday morning is probably better, but I would not take too much action on that. Okay. Hey, Rick, using the custom model for the first time, how do you handle the number of rounds this early in the season? I know last 36 has historically been a good indicator, but I assume it's different earlier in the season. Yeah, it's kind of awkward right now because we have guys whose all of their last 36 rounds have been in the fall, or we have some guys that go back to like the 36 rounds before the Tour Championship. And it's just guys. And if you're using, the RickRunGood custom model, like, it's also all their European Tour data. So like, there's kind of a lot happening here. I think overall, just stick with 36, right? I think you have to go 36, or you have to go with like 100 and let guys reset with 6 weeks off or whatever it was. So one or the other, I think, is the way to go about doing it. Is there a simple way to sort by round number when looking at head-to-head matchups? Figure some guys play better or worse than round 1. Yeah, so I'm assuming you're talking for the head-to-head matchup tool. The answer is no. Maybe I could work that in. You could go to the Holy Grail, go to strokes gained by round, do more filters, and just do round 1, and you could get an idea of who plays better in round 1 than in other rounds. So like Will Gordon has been a hot starter, right? 3.26 per round over his last 7 round 1s. That's actually unbelievable, right? So these are all PGA Tour rounds. So he's gained 1, 6, 4, lost a hair, 7, 2.5, and 1.4. That's pretty good. Ben Griffin as well. Those were two names we mentioned a little bit earlier. Let's let this load and see. Wow. So Ben Griffin, there's a hot start. His last 4 opening rounds, plus 2.7, plus 3.2, plus 3.5, plus 5.2. They're getting better. What if he just goes out and snaps off and gains 6 here? Kuchar, Tom Kim, no surprise there. Yuto Katsuragawa. I only have 2 opening rounds for him. One was at the Zozo, one was at the Open Championship. He gained in both a round and a half. Henley gets off to a hot start. Robbie Shelton, Gary Woodland. So maybe I can work that into the head-to-head matchup tool, but good question. TJ says, how much are you going to lose to me in bro throw this week? Do we have action against each other? Where are you? I don't see you in here. We got to get, okay. So I'll put out some more bets. Let's see. Let's go to games. PGA. Bro throw is just, it's matchmaking, right? You don't pay the house, the VIG, and you just match up with other people who want the other side of things. So I'll throw some stuff out for you right now, TJ. There's a ton of matchups. I don't know what side of this stuff you want. I'll take the smally side if you want Putnam, right? I'll just throw out a bunch of these. So let's just do, it's got to be private. You got to come find me. I'll post Alex Smalley's, and you guys can go take the other side if you want the Putnam side of things. There's 5 of them. So you can go get that. This is only in our group though. So if you're not in our group, let's see. There's 93 open bets in our group right now. And there's 317 and like 12 more than I need to accept. So if you want to go into the group and be a part of this, there's a link in the description. It's brothrow.com/Rick. I get an update that says you want to join, and then I can let you in, and we just kind of bet with each other and settle via Venmo and everything else. So go grab them, TJ, if you want that other side, or post some and I'll come find you. Last year, Keith Mitchell had 1 bogey in 4 rounds here. He missed like 20 putts from 10 feet. That sounds right. Has he fixed his putter? Was this where he had the bent putter or no? That was somewhere else, right? So let's look at Keith Mitchell putting. I wonder if this is where he lost all those strokes with the putter. I'd have to look. So has he fixed the putter? It's been okay, right? He had this great stretch here from Wells Fargo to the Scottish Open. He was putting like a fool, like a madman. I guess that's a good thing. Then it's been all over the place. -2.5, -4, plus 2.6, -5, -1.9, +1, +1.5, -0.25. It's okay. This is actually kind of the stat profile you want, right? You want to be capable of gaining 5, even if you are capable of losing 5. I would also say it couldn't have been here that he lost 9 strokes, right? Yeah, so he gained 3.7 here last year, and he was putting well at the time. It's kind of hard to lose a ton of strokes here. Very flat greens, especially from like 5 and 8 feet. You get a lot of easy enough looks. It's hard to lose a lot of strokes here. I think the one and done, or excuse me, the one and done is just on my brain. The weaker putters generally have a better shot here. No, Brett. No, come on, man. If you could short one guy in this field this week, who do you think it would be for Jock Market? Buddy, have we played this game before? And I picked Seamus Power and he won. So shorting him was like really horrible. So this is stock market DFS and you can short guys, which is freaking amazing. But if you get it wrong, you're kind of up a creek. So let's kind of just look at this together. So if you scroll down here, like let's find some losers, right? Let's find some big time losers. Okay. Would you short Keegan? Because it seems to be there's a pretty good narrative on Keegan right now. The other one I'll check is Denny McCarthy. So Keegan, loses 30 pounds, looking good, gets to go to a place where the putter, doesn't really matter. He's like outside of the Zozo, he is still a loser in the Jock market. So he's not performing up to expectation. He's a loser in 7 out of 10 and 5% in the negative overall. And that's with a win. That's kind of crazy. How about Denny? Denny in his last 10, that was another one that I saw that wasn't great. Yeah, minus 14%. I like Denny, but these would be two guys I'd consider I'd consider shorting, but you're not. I don't know if you're going to get me on the record for one guy. There's a link in the description. Rick for $100 deposit bonus at Jock Market, and Joe Idoni and I do a power hour every Wednesday night. So I'm sure Brett will be there. 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. Rick Run Good YouTube channel is that. Is PrizePicks legit? Does it deposit your money you want? Yeah. It's regulated. Yeah. It's regulated in like 36 states. Yes. Completely legit. Hey, Rick, I love the TOC Sony narrative, but Ches is a bridge too far. But is Ches a bridge too far? Yeah, I don't like that narrative that much. So I'm not sure you're going to get me to necessarily agree with that side of it. Is it any surprise that the guys who played in the Tournament of Champions, an event in which you have to qualify to get into, are doing well in the event next to it? Like, is there any surprise by that? The answer is no. Also, they're like the top 8 guys in the betting odds this week or something. It might be even more than that. So if I just gave you the top 12 guys in the field every single week, you're going to find a lot of wins. And we just equate it to, they played in Maui last week. Ches has been horrible, right? So look at these strokes gain numbers. He's probably the worst player in the field since the BMW Championship. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would be 8, 16, 24, 32. But he like -6. I bet you in the last 30 rounds, he's like the worst player in the field. Find out. Last 30 rounds. Min 30 as well. And I'll flip this around and look at strokes gain total. The worst player in the field, Parker McLaughlin. Sorry, short game chef. Kyle Stanley, Trevor Werbelow, and then Ches Reeves, the only guy who's not like minimum priced. So listen, if you want to take a flyer on Ches, have at it, but that's about as bad as it gets. This just says, Rick, how's life? Yeah, I mean, pretty great, honestly. Yeah, I've 2023 is off to a great start. I'm going to head to Phoenix for CBS, and we're going to do coverage from there all week, which is going to be awesome because the Super Bowl's there as well. So they've got a Super Bowl stage and a waste management stage, and it's going to be incredible. I'm going to go to Torrey Pines. I'm going to go to Riviera. We're happy. We're healthy. Everything's all good over here. Hope so for you as well. Any guys at $6,500 or below that you're comfortable playing? I can find you one if you're super desperate. Oh, okay. I mean, Cole Hammer, I would not mind playing, right? So Cole Hammer, 5th at the RSM, 27th in Houston. Those were the last 2 times we saw him. And most people recognize that he's very, very talented, and he's only on a Corn Ferry status. And it's not like these guys are not motivated, but if he finishes inside the top 10, he gets another start. That's how this works. So he doesn't have to use a sponsor's exemption. So that would be probably my favorite one. It's going to be volatile. And then outside of that, I'll tell you what, Tyson Alexander has not been that bad. Remember when he popped up and finished second at, what would that have been? Mayakoba? Maybe something like that. He has a pure swing. His swing is textbook. You really do love to see it. You can kind of see a little bit of a tail off here, but he finished second in Houston, gained 6 strokes on approach. If you're even capable of doing that, I'm interested. And he's made 4 cuts in a row. That would be the other one. Not super, super comfortable, but it's there. Hey, Rick, good afternoon. I'm torn in the 7K range. Can you rank these 5 players in terms of making the cut in the upside? So really, this is a lot of work, Daniel. Because the guys that are more likely to make the cut are probably your lesser upside guys. So the guys are Smalley, Gordon, Buckley, Griffin, Sig. I think the answer is Griffin, or excuse me, let me start over. Gordon, Smalley, if you're playing a fantasy game, Griffin, Buckley, Sig. They're all pretty good options. So. Yo, Rick, is there a name for approach plus around the green plus putting? If not, what should it be called? It should be called fairway through green. FTG, right? I guess maybe not fairway. It should be called, because you could be in the rough. It should be called, what the hell would you call that? I don't want to call it like minus driving or something like that. Strokes gained. God, I don't know. I liked fairway through green. Then I realized I guess you could just also be in the rough. Why can't Billy Horschel win this tournament? I don't think that he cannot. This is weird with Billy, right? So he goes and he says last week to Sports Illustrated that he's taken this week off. Well, spoiler alert, he didn't, right? He's playing, and he was horrible out of the gate, lost 6.5 strokes off the tee over the course of the week. But like, the thing with Kapalua, if you are off, you're going to lose a ton of strokes off the tee, because these guys are hitting 400 yard drives. They're rolling down. You're getting a ton of like outlier shots that if you're also not doing that, you're going to lose a ton. And that's what he did off the tee. His weekend was great. Second best weekend of anybody playing this week who played last week besides Tom Hoge, right? And he's got good results here. 7th and I think 31st or something like that. I really like Billy Horschel. I'm not going to lie. I might be a donk, but let's go. Is Brent Grant a good fit here? So there's a lot of like the Brent Grant Hawaii narratives. He's longer than he should be for how little he is, but we're actually going to pull up his results and see. Friend of the pod, by the way. He's come on the pod. He's a good dude. Drives it well. The approach play is lacking and the rest of it kind of struggles. I don't think there is a ton of upside. Quite frankly, it hasn't been good even dating back to, he won in May. After that, it hasn't really been that good. He's a very, very volatile guy. It's hard for him to put 4 rounds together. He's trying to find consistency. I think there are probably better options than Brent Grant. Do you think you can make a winning lineup without having a 10K guy? Yes. Anything is possible. Guys will need to put it close from 125 to 200 this week to score. Best way to combine long off the tee and shorter iron proximity versus short off the tee plus longer iron proximity and possibly combined with putting. Devin. Okay. Let me try for you, bud. Let's go to the custom model, clear out my weights, and we will say, for all those buckets, let's do like 50 rounds. Let's say from 125 to 200. Okay, so let's go to approach and do 25, 25, and 25 from 125 to 150, 150 to 175, and 175 to 150. Then I will combine with putting like you have asked, and I will do a longer term, like 100 round putting. And your best player is Aaron Baddeley. Is that what you wanted, Devin? We've removed everything else. Is that what you wanted? Tom Kim's number 2, Mark Hubbard 3, Zach Blair 4, Jordan Spieth 5, Nate Lashley, Adam Scott, Brian Harmon, Tom Hoge, Siwoo Kim. That's just the raw 3 buckets of approach and putting. It's kind of sick. Oh, don't post the same question twice. I'm going in order. You do not have to post the same question twice. Is there a reset when it comes to recent performance after a long break? Yeah. I think so. I'm happy to take it into play. If you're going to do it, you have to do it for everybody. You can't cherry pick, right? You can't just take the guys that were hot and say reset or keep their recent form, but reset you just can't. You got to either do it or don't. Hey, Rick, I just signed up for your website and I love all the data. That's awesome. Thank you. Can you do a deep dive on Robbie Shelton and Will Gordon? Yeah. So I think we already did Will Gordon, but I don't know if I actually brought up his profile, so we can talk about that really quick because I want to show you that this goes back kind of a lot further than people probably realize. Yes, he had a very good fall, but he was vibing on the Korn Ferry prior to that. So you can see he went T5, win, T46, T26 on the Korn Ferry. So his last 5 on the Korn Ferry were great. Hasn't missed a cut this fall. Had a T3, had a T15, driving it well, giddy up. The other one would be Robbie Shelton, who I'm actually pretty high on. Finished, I think his last event was probably RSM. And I think he had a pretty good finish there as well. I'm actually starting Robbie in a couple of season-long fantasy leagues where I've got to fill out my lineup, but I'm okay with it. He's kind of more of a short game specialist, right? Kind of around the green and putting. He's probably not going to need around the green much, but look at his approach play. +2, +4, +1.5, +2.2. That's in his last 4 measured events. RSM Classic, he was great. T10 there. He only missed 1 cut in the fall. He won a couple of, these are great stat profiles, especially when you start combining, last 5 starts on the Korn Ferry to what he's done on the PGA Tour this season. Both of these guys have been great. And let's be honest, this is like, there's a lot of Korn Ferry guys in this field. There are. They all got their bump. Grillo or Putnam? Probably still Putnam. In or out on Hoge? In. He's the best. What? In. He's like the best ball striker on planet Earth. Let's do, that's That's an exaggeration, but in this field, maybe. So let's do this. 50 rounds, 50 rounds. I bet you if I do plus opportunities, so these are birdie opportunities from 10 feet and in. Tom Hoagie's fourth, and these other guys have sample size issues. Opportunities gained, so this is 15 feet or more. Yeah, Hoagie's third. I mean, he's an absolute flusher. Carl Yuan, Tyson Alexander, Ben Griffin are the other ones there, but Hoagie does it in harder fields. So good. I know that stat about how many previous winners played in the TOC, but that's mainly because of the best players. Bang. But in the last 5 years, how many who came 2 to 5th played the week before? I'm not going to spend the time to look through that right now, but I can try to find out. Hi, Rick. I have a question about my season-long fantasy team. Okay. I drafted my team and only have 5 golfers available. I don't know that I want to drop anyone to make a 6th. Says, do I have to? Philly, you don't have to do anything you don't want. I would highly encourage you to. There's already this momentum starting, or these rumblings starting, that like, I'm just going to go to battle with 4 guys this week or 5 guys this week. I think that is going to end very, very badly for you. If we were doing it by money, maybe we will next year. That's a different story. But the missing 2 rounds of fantasy points when you miss a cut is huge. Missing 4 rounds of fantasy points, even if your guy's like 5 over, you're going to get, what's that? You're going to get like 35 fantasy points. If you are starting 5 and the guy that you're playing is starting 6, you are probably going to lose. So I don't know how much clearer I can be. I dropped a guy I drafted there's going to be a lot of churn here. I dropped a guy that I drafted pretty early. So here's who I'm going to battle with in the big one, the one that we did the draft for. Hayden Buckley, S.H. Kim, Tom Kim, Sam Ryder, Robbie Sheldon, Adam Svensson. And I dropped, who did I drop to get there? I dropped Lee Hodges and Bo Hostler. I hope that helps. Best putters on Bermuda? Compared to relative performance, I have to add that back in. But I'll show you this though. So let's do Holy Grail. Let's do back a couple of years, and we'll uncheck. Make sure we uncheck round 1, and we'll do on Bermuda, and we will see. Are we looking for putters or players? Let's just do putters. Ben Taylor, Harry Hall, small sample. Taylor Montgomery, small sample. Denny, Chesson, Brendan Todd, S.H. Kim, small sample. Parker McLaughlin, small sample. Tom Kim, small sample. Eric Cole. So there's some guys there. I used to have this tool. It used to be called Grass Specialists. I'll get it back in there. Oh, I think I just did this, but yeah. So it says, can you explain opportunities and plus opportunities? So an opportunity, whether you make it or not, is if you gave yourself a birdie putt inside 15 feet or closer. It doesn't matter if you make it. It's like targets in the NFL. You got targets, it's volume, it's opportunity. It correlates highly to fantasy points, whether you catch the ball or not, whether you catch it and get 2 yards, whatever. Opportunities gained takes the average for every round. So when you go to a place like Waialae or Kapalua and everybody gets a bunch of opportunities, did you get more than your peers for that round? That would be if you gained or lost. Plus opportunities, that's even closer, right? These are like real 10-foot and in birdie opportunities, and the same thing for opportunities or plus opportunities gained. Can you do a deep dive on Ryan Palmer? Seems like a good option and should be low owned. Yes, I can. And let me see what his projected ownership is at the moment. I thought I just scrolled. Did I scroll past him? I thought I did. Ryan Palmer. Here we go. 7,100, 4.5% projected ownership. So let's see. Oh boy. Cut, T45 cut. That's not good. T20 cut. Oh boy. I mean, if we reset him back to his 100 round baseline, it's okay. This is not particularly exciting. I love Ryan Palmer. He's actually a very, very nice guy. This is not particularly exciting. He seems to lack the approach play. He has not been good off the tee. The putter, which has usually been one of the better aspects of his game, is kind of all over the place. That's a little bit worrisome. Can we deep dive Carl Yuan? And where do you see him finishing this week? Probably exactly 13th place finish. No, I have no idea where he's going to finish. But what I do know is he's a flusher. So let's look up his numbers here. Whoops, sorry about that. So you're going to realize if you like Team No Putt, like this is your guy, right? So the ball striking numbers are insane. Plus 5.5, plus 5.7, plus 4.3. He did lose 3 at the Sanderson Farms, but he gained 3 at the Fortinet. He missed 3 of those cuts. He is like the best ball striker in the field statistically over his last 5, and he has no finish better than T35 because he is horrid around the greens and pretty bad on the greens. Now this week, if you're having to like get up and down, you are dead anyway. And putting should be a little bit easier. So if there was ever a spot, I'll tell you this, I'll give him a little bit of a bump. Let's call it T27. That's like the most likely outcome for Carl Yuan. But man, he is going to have to not give everything back in the short game. Congrats on the continuous site and growing YouTube distribution channels. Thank you much. How is round 1 weather looking? Yes. This is the first event we've had in a while where we have AM, PM waves. So yeah, I showed it earlier. I think maybe tiny edge Thursday afternoon to Friday morning. If you want to play it, I'm probably not going to play it. If you want to play it, the Rick Run Good model, by the way. So since people probably haven't seen this, I'll get myself out of the way. Because we're back on waves. You can build lineups on specific waves. Certain number of guys from PM, certain number of guys from AM, at least a certain number of guys from AM, at least a certain number of guys from PM. So you can see that all down here. Because yeah, you're right. We haven't had one of these in a while. Excuse me. Is it bad to roll out Tom Kim in one and done, or maybe save him for an elevated event? You shouldn't save him, I don't think, for an elevated event. I think getting him at 11-1 is the best you're going to get him at all year, unless he wins this and 2 more and you get to Sawgrass and he's like 8-1, right? Which would be shocking, but I guess it's not out of the realm of possibilities. The other thing would be he's going to be pretty highly owned in one and done, but it's so early in the season that I don't think I care about that. So when I weigh all the options, I say, have at it, hop on the train, and go with Tom Kim. Can you rank these 4 who are, I swear these are the same 4 I ranked earlier. These guys must be getting a lot of run. Gordon, I think I can keep the same order. I think I said Gordon, Smalley, Buckley, Sig, as I believe the way we went there. Answered that about Billy Horschel, so I'm going to roll on. Henley improved putting week. Why? Let's look. But why? Are you telling me or are you asking me? Are we looking for any indication that Russell Henley is going to have an improved putting week? Well, it's hard to get worse, right? I mean, he lost 6 last week, 3, 4, 2, 5, 2.3, 0, 2.3, 2.9. Pretty hard to get worse. How is he on Bermuda? It's actually not that bad. He's like a tiny gainer historically on Bermuda. He's horrible on bentgrass. I mean, if you're just asking me, will Russell Henley lose less than 6 strokes putting? Probably yes. Will he gain and putt well? Probably not. Garrett says, I picked Rahm last week and one and done as Sung Jae smart play. Yeah, Sung Jae, Tom Kim, roll with it. Can you tell us any of the potential sponsors you have rejected? No, but it happens fairly frequently. I really only partner up with, I mean, what 3, right? And when I do, it's for a long time. The ones that I reject, we don't share the same vision in general, where it's like, hey, we want you to give out picks, or we want you to tout this. Like, if I'm not going to actually use the product, I'm not interested in it. So, I mean, you guys have heard me talk about the same exact sponsors and partners, really, for the last couple of years, because that's kind of how we do it. Kevin Streelman. Streels. Talk about Kevin Streelman. Another good question coming up here. All right. What do we got on Streels? Horrible. No. Out. Streelman's such a known entity. He's going to be okay off the tee. He's going to be an average approach player, and you're going to have to hold on to your butt when he gets on or around the greens. I would much rather try for one of the young guys, one of the higher upside guys, etc. Jeff, hey, bud. Multiple entries in a football block pool, all one column or row, or diversify. I don't know. There's probably a right answer to this, right? Always ending with the same number on one of the sides. I think I would diversify because I'm a nit in that way, but there might be, I don't know, it might be a better EV if you did 1 billion times and you always put them in one row or column. Like, you get smoked when you get the 5s, right? But when you get the 1s and the 0s and the 3s, you could find yourself winning multiple blocks. There's probably a right answer. I'm diversifying. Major props are always having that drive to improve all the tools. Boom. Giddy up. Let's go. Sam Ryder. Sam Ryder played well, I believe, at the RSM. I followed him for a bit. Let's actually see what that finish was. Okay, I'm full of it. He missed the cut. Why did I think he played better? Why did I think he made the cut? Oh, maybe I was thinking of Mayakoba. So T8 and Mayakoba, this is not bad, right? I mean, for all things considered, he's missed 3 cuts dating back to the Rocket Mortgage. His approach, so he has the 2 things that when they get hot, you get really excited about. He's a good approach player, and he's a good putter, arguably great putter, or at least recently as of Rocket Mortgage. When those 2 things are on, that's how you go low, like real low. So it is an exciting skill set. It's just he's got to marry all that together. We are getting a little bit of like the same question. So if I realize I'm like 30 minutes behind questions. So, but this is the part where I get to make up ground because I've answered a lot of these questions already. So I'm going to find ones that don't. Do you have any players that always show up in your models but never perform for you? Also, who's the player that has broken your heart or wallet the most? Mine is Fleetwood. Wow. Okay. I don't know if I remember that. I never get Adam Scott right. I've never gotten Adam Scott right. I actually don't think I've ever gotten Hideki right either. But that might just be me thinking about it at the top of the field. Corey Connors, I've never gotten anything out of, right? Because even on like good Corey Connors weeks, it's like T17. And you're like, well, what did I do? And apparently I never get Seamus right because I told everybody to short him and he went out and won the tournament. If you had to convince one person they could eat only one meal for the rest of their life, what would it be and why? Okay. Let's just can we disregard all the health scenarios? Can we do that? And how specific do I have to be? Because the easiest answer is pizza. You could have pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening. You could have pizza at supper time, right? There's a lot of variations of pizza. There is breakfast pizza that you can put fruit on a pizza. You can have regular pizza. You can have deep dish pizza. You can have thin crust. You can have, there's just a million options, right? Pizza is very, very versatile. You can fold it. It's just very versatile. The other one, actually, I think my answer might be like sushi. Now you could get vegan sushi, right? So if you don't want to support the fishing trade, you could get vegan sushi, which is also very good. And that is also versatile and never seems to get old. Now they have hot sushi, which I just learned about. I mean, it's lighter. You're not feeling like you've eaten pizza every single meal, right? So there's a lot. Hey, Rick, big fan of Buckley, but not sure how he fits here. Not sure his strengths of accurate driving and hitting at greens will do. So, okay. I agree with kind of the last statement here, which says I think I want to play him at a tougher course. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm actually kind of excited to see what he does at Torrey Pines, right? I think that is going to be a pretty interesting litmus test for him. You know, he played well at the US Open, but look at his results. I mean, so he WDs from Wyndham and he misses the cut in Napa, but a T19 at Sanderson, easy course in Jackson, T20 at TPC Summerlin, very easy golf course by tour standards. I followed him around. He left a lot of strokes out there, still finished T20. So I'm not ready to say what's good, bad, and indifferent courses for him, but I'm playing him this week and I'm excited, but I think you might be onto something, that he might be a little bit of like a tough course killer, right? I could see that. Yeah, we looked at this a little bit earlier. So any metrics that can help with first round leaders. If you're betting first round leaders, there are literally only two things to do. One, you go to the golfer power rankings, you click on strokes gained distribution, you sort by 5+ strokes gained, and you find guys with ceilings. Will Gordon, Mark Hubbard, Adam Scott, Ben Griffin, Emiliano Grillo. The other thing you could do, and I don't care that much, but I understand it, is you go to the Holy Grail, you go to strokes gained by round, you look at guys who play well in the first round. You could argue it's volatility. They don't actually play well just because it's Thursday, but I know some people like that. I do know some guys are fast starters. They like a blank slate, et cetera, et cetera. Do those two things. If you go do those two things, you will win more first round leaders. And it's hard. They're hard to win. They're crapshoots. Let's be real, but that will be better. Do you like skipping over the 9K range? No. The 9K range is amazing. The 9K range, Hoagie, Henley, Harmon, Connors, Horschel, Bradley, Montgomery, McNeely. Give me all of them, except really kind of like Brian Harmon and Corey Connors, probably. And I'm probably more down on Keegan than most, but I don't mind. He's 9.5% on it. But you cannot skip this. They're absolutely stout. Oh, this is a really good question. Last spot in the lineup for Svensson or Gordon. Oh boy, I like them both. I bet them both. Flip a coin, man. I would say Gordon. Any issues having Kitayama or KH Lee as most exposed right now? As long as you don't care about volatility, because that's what you're going to get. KH Lee's been good, but you're going to get some real bad weeks. And Kitayama is the same way. If we look through his results, it's like runner up 71st, runner up 71st. Like, it's just tough. Can you run a matchup simulator? Well, that's 3. I can do 2. No, I can't do a 3. I can do Keith Mitchell. I'll do Keith Mitchell and Tom Hoagie. How about that? Is that a good compromise? And I'm going to do the last 36 rounds. Keith Mitchell, Tom Hoagie, Tom Hornbuckle. I have Hoagie winning at 64% of the time. So sorry. I don't think that was what you were looking to see. Recently played golf with my wife, and she asked me to hand her a putting wedge. Who is the best with their putting wedge on Bermuda surfaces? That's pretty funny. We did talk about that, though. Is Shadow Creek heaven on earth? Yep. Big time. Finally got around to playing it this weekend. Nothing like it. If I dropped you in the middle of Shadow Creek, you would think you're in Ohio or Wisconsin or Western Pennsylvania or anywhere but the desert of Las Vegas. It's absolutely insane. With the need to catch a hot putter this week, would the upper left quadrant and the trends tool be emphasized? Oh, that's actually interesting. Let's go. All right, we'll go to the trends tool. So the trends tool, Zach, I should absolutely show this more. All it does is show you who's playing over their baseline, under their baseline for any number of rounds that you want. So this upper left-hand quadrant is guys who are striking it well and putting well below their baseline. So Russell Henley's number 1. No surprise. We just looked at how horrible he's been with the putter. So it says if they get back to their baseline, kind of what can you expect? Can you expect them to break out? So some of the guys in that upper left-hand quadrant would be good. Henley, Michael Kim, Siwoo Kim, Troy Merritt, Zach Blair, Patton Kizzire, Brendan Steele, David Lipsky, et cetera, et cetera. You can kind of see how it all shakes out. The bottom right-hand quadrant, those are the scary guys. So for example, Hideki Matsuyama, below his tee to green baseline, above his putting baseline. That's super scary because if everything normalizes, or at least the flat stick normalizes, like he's in big trouble. Unless he learned how to putt. That's the other option is that he learned how to putt. I like Kita Nakajima. Very good player. I've answered some of these, which is good because we've got like 5 minutes left. Tom Kim and Cole Hammer or Connors and Armour. I don't think this is close, which means it'll probably be wrong. I think it's got to be Tom Kim and Cole Hammer. Tom Kim's maybe the best player in the field. Corey Connors has basically zero upside historically. Cole Hammer, been great in his last two. Ryan Armour, fine. Just like a fine option overall. Do you have any best ball action for this weekend? No. Who are the best top cash game options? Go to the golfer power rankings. Go to strokes gain total of 0+, which is how often do they gain strokes. Tom Kim, Taylor Montgomery, Cam Davis, Carl Yuan, Justin Suh, Sung Jae, and Brandon Todd, Corey Connors, Matt McNeely, Sam Stevens. Those are your best cash game options this week. Ooh, Mr. Mike. Mr. Mike says, Rick, my 300 yards to unknown shirt and coffee mug came today. That's so sick. Thank you. Can't wait to make my lineup tomorrow here wearing on the East Coast while working and having my coffee. Happy New Year. Cheers, bud. Yeah, thank you. Actually, if you're getting really freaky, we're actually, are they live yet, Mina? The shirts for our fantasy leagues are done. They're in the Run Good store. So my Vegas Straight Flushers shirt is there. Palm Beach Coconuts, Jersey Jabronis. We actually had a guy, I think I can show you. We actually had a guy, do the logos for these, and now they're available. Cincinnati Hustle, New York Golf Club. Like, how sick is this? There's other stuff in there as well. I never talk about this. I should probably talk about the merch if you want to. We like lose money on it. It's just like if you want to support the cause and wear it, which I appreciate, like have at it. That's why it's there. Rick, I'm hungry. What's for lunch? Yeah, buffalo chicken sandwich, which is probably not a surprise to many of you because that's the go-to. Rick, you're the man. Can you do a deep dive on Zach Blair? How could I not do a deep dive on Zach Blair the once a year that someone asks? So here we go. Oh boy. What happened here? Straight drop down for over his last 100. So T20. Oh, he's got like not just so few results here. That's what happened. RSM Classic T29 gained across the board. What a sicko. Missed 4 cuts before that. T12 gained across the board. What do Napa and Sea Island have in common? Anything? Anything? Why would he do this? I don't know. I will do more homework on him, Jay. That's weird, isn't it? Isn't that weird? What is one player you think comes in higher than projected ownership? Yeah, I don't actually always think this anymore because Mike Cavalunas, who does it now, is like way better than I ever was. So he's usually pretty spot on. I think Tom Hoagie will be more popular than 12% owned. I think Keegan Bradley will be more popular than 9.8, right? Am I crazy? Oh, how is Taylor Montgomery only 11%? He's the best player in this field. If you go to the power rankings and you go to strokes gained over the last, let's get out of there. Last 50 rounds, even last 36 rounds, Taylor Montgomery is the best player in this field. Better than Tom Kim. Raw strokes gained. Saw your picks on Golf Digest. Tell us again, okay, why you don't like Harman. So let's remember, when I do that article, it is very much like for entertainment purposes, right? But the idea is, of the guys at the top, I look at that by saying, like, it says player to fade. It's like, who's not going to win? That's the way I read it, especially when you have a guy who's sub 20-1. So he's 18-1. He has 2 wins on the PGA Tour. This course hasn't really been all that good to him, even though he should fit it pretty well. And he is being priced in the same place as Jordan Spieth, Hideki Matsuyama, close enough to Sung Jae Im. Like, I just believe that is an entirely different class of golfer. Entirely different. And I love Brian Harman. Brian Harman makes me a lot of money. I like the guy. And there's a lot of spots to deploy him. Not at 18-1. Not at 18-1. Will live golfers be available in the Rick Run Good Run and Done? Yes. I'm going to rapid fire through some of these. Any suggestions on season-long fantasy when we have options from your bench and starters to evaluate who to start? Yeah, so Andy does weekly rankings. You can go look at his rankings, or I would go to the power rankings and compare these two golfers. How do I play season-long golf? You kind of missed the boat. It starts tomorrow, and 1,500 people filled up leagues over the last couple of months. Unfortunately, at this point, Clarence, we are probably too far. It's probably not any spots left. Love the Vegas draft. Thank you. Which team are you most worried about? I thought in the moment, and I still think that Joe Idoni's Palm Beach Coconuts is the team to beat. Let me see if I can find you the draft board. Mina's going to kill me because we don't have much of a window to go eat lunch and come back, but we got to do what we got to do here. She made this graphic, so she'll forgive me. Especially because I was in the 7th spot and Joe was in the 8th spot. There were a lot of guys that I would have liked to have gone. Like I would have liked to have gone at the turn here, Pendrith, and then have it come back and be Connors. And he got, and come back and get Davis, and he got Davis from me. I wanted to go Buckley, come back and get Gordon. He got Gordon from me. I thought that he had a pretty decent draft there. So yeah, you can still go watch that. At least, I guess, lucky enough, I've answered a lot of these questions, which is nice. Are we going to be getting notifications from the PGA Tour app this week, or is that going to be broken for a while? I don't know. I don't know if you have anything to do with it. Thank you, Mark, for assuming I have literally anything to do with the PGA Tour's app. Also, no thank you, because that might be an insult, depending on how you feel about the app. No, I have zero idea about that. Spieth projected ownership in the run and done. Does it make more sense to save him for an elevated event or just a spot that he's been much better at? Yeah. I mean, he's going to be like 5% owned. Are you playing on Max Payne Monday anytime soon? Probably not. Ever since the whole like cheating thing. So somebody reached out to me and was like, I have all of this evidence of like this month-long cheating scandal that's been going on. And the episode that you were on was definitely impacted. And I was like, oh God. So I don't know. I would love to. I think it's so much fun. Maybe I'll fly down to Texas and play. I don't know. I would love to do it again, but I think I might. I don't know. We'll just wait and see. We've talked about a lot of these guys, which is good. All right. Anyone you're stashing for season long? Yeah, Goddard is a good one. I've also stashed Cam Smith, by the way. But we'll see. I might have to bump him at some point. All right, that'll do it. Here we go. Go to RickRunGood.com. Go check out all this great data. There is like 900 more great things coming. I vow it will be the best site you've ever seen in your entire life. Run Good Props is pretty cool. Very simple, very powerful if you're into the prop sites. That YouTube channel is now live. And then Joe Idoni and myself tonight, Jock Market Power Hour, 8:15, rocking and rolling. Best of luck. Talk to you guys soon.